How is Shatabhisha Nakshatra in Aquarius sign? Long back, this question was asked. Today, I will answer. Long back, during the good old days of Indian television, an advertisement of a tomato ketchup brand used to run. And their punchline was, "It's different." Shatabhisha Nakshatra also can be expressed in just two words. It's different. Shatabhisha falls in Aquarius sign, and in the Western astrology it is addressed as the Gamma Aquarii binary star. People of this nakshatra are different, and they also like everything that is different. Who knows that the man who created the punchline "It's different" may also have been of Shatabhisha Nakshatra? Rahu loves all that is different, and Shatabhisha is the permanent home of Rahu. Rahu also has other two homes, Swati Nakshatra and Adra Nakshatra. These both nakshatras belong to Rahu. And interestingly, all the three nakshatras of Rahu fall in intellectual signs, that is in the airy signs. Shatabhisha Nakshatra falls in the sign of Aquarius. Swati Nakshatra falls in the sign of Libra. Adra Nakshatra falls in the sign of Gemini. Rahu simply loves intellectualism, debates, competitions related to knowledge. All of it is what Rahu loves. An intellectual person is definitely a Rahuish man, and you will often find him or her in abundance of money, power, status. And therefore, generally Rahuish men and women have so much that it just becomes too much. And Lao Tzu, one of the greatest divine masters, says, "Too much is the only sin." Rahu is equal to too much. Money, he becomes just money. Sex, he becomes just so much sexual that it starts making his own life miserable. Too many sexual affairs finally leads to nowhere. Power, he becomes too much hungry for power, and in this hunger he commits many mistakes, and mistakes repeated transform into sins. So Shatabhisha man or woman may have it all, but they remain far away from the reality, the real, the truth. They generally are those intellectual beings who find pleasure in debating, abusing, offending others. And in this process, they go on empowering their ego that says, "I am somebody." That is the nature of Rahu, and that is how all Rahu's nakshatra has it. You cannot change the nature. Always remember, nature cannot be changed. Instinct is the part of your nature. Nature is expressed in 4 layers. Instinct is the lowest. Then there is intellect, which is higher than instinct. Intellect makes you superior to the animals, but instinct is juicy. Intellect is dry. Hence, people who live with instinct are joyous, happy, loving, and the people who live with intellect are dry, quarreling. So, if you love debates, if you love to watch those debate shows on news channels, if you like to compete, then you are a perfect Rahuish person. A Ketuish person is least interested in any debates or any competitions. He is a yogi, and a yogi is least interested in winning. The master says, "You cannot defeat me simply because I am not interested to win." Ketu is disinterested in winning because he has gone beyond the state of winning and losing. He is simply happy to be. Rahu is very much interested in winning. He just loves the rat race, and so he makes you run and run and run so much that he simply never lets you rest in peace until a day comes when you are dead, and on your graveyard people instill a nicely inscribed plate that reads, "Rest in peace." Shatabhisha Nakshatra, a brilliant glowing nakshatra, which is intellectual, extrovert, and all those qualities that has the potential to shape you into a scholarly person. Scholar, yes. The people of Shatabhisha Nakshatra like this word a lot. Why? Because it's different. Anything that makes you different from the others is instantly liked by the men and women of Shatabhisha Nakshatra. Rahu always likes that which is different. So always remember, whenever anybody feels to have something different, it is Rahu calling. One day, Mohan asked, Rahu has 3 nakshatras that he owns. But then among all these 3 nakshatras, Swati, Adra, Shatabhisha, why is it that Rahu loves Shatabhisha more? Why Shatabhisha is his favorite? Why Shatabhisha makes him feel home? The answer is simple. But before that, you answer my question, I said to Mohan. If there are 3 wings in a society, A wing, B wing, C wing, and if in the C wing lives your best friend, then which wing you would love to visit? Mohan said, C wing, because my best friend lives in that wing. Similarly, Rahu loves to live in Aquarius, the sea wing, because his best friend Saturn lives in Aquarius too. And since Shatabhisha Nakshatra falls in Aquarius, Rahu is very comfortable, empowered in Aquarius sign, especially in Shatabhisha Nakshatra. And that is the reason why Rahu loves Shatabhisha more than the other 2 nakshatras, Swati and Adra. Intellectualism belongs to all these 3 signs, Libra, Aquarius and Gemini. Rahu is boss in these 3 signs. In fact, in Gemini, Rahu exhales because this is not his friend Saturn's sign, but this is the sign of his master Mercury. So when in friend's domain, Saturn, Aquarius sign, Rahu feels home. And when in his master's domain, that is Mercury's Gemini sign, Rahu feels ecstatic. Rahu is high, exalted when in Gemini. See how beautiful all this can be. Astrology indeed is alive only if you are alive. The real question is not whether a life exists after death. The real question is whether you are alive before death. 3, 7, 11. Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. All these three intellectual signs are also highly sexual signs. Rahu, who rules 3 nakshatras in these 3 signs, is also highly sexual by nature. In short, whoever is born on Adra, in Swati, and in Shatabhisha Nakshatra, by nature is highly sexual. This man and woman excel in the art of love making and romance. Sex is interesting as long as there is romance. You remove the romance and sex will look ugly, utterly ugly. Imagine you are making love without romance, without poetry, just a biological action, and it will be so difficult. And so man has created a smoke around sex. That smoke is called love, romance, because he cannot do it without having the smoke around. The smoke need to be there. It is necessary. Now, how does these 3 signs, Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, create the smoke to initiate sex, to enjoy sex? Gemini. These people talk. They talk and they talk. And have you seen a certain Gemini woman or men? How they talk? They talk so impressively that they can simply seduce you through their talk. To Gemini, talk is the smoke. Libra. These people are romantic. They know exactly how to pose, how to wear appealing dresses, how to attract. The Venusian Libra is perfectly aware of their strength to attract through their body language. To Libra, body language is the smoke. Aquarius, intellect. They try to be different. This being a different appearance than it may be in their outlook towards life, their rebellion attitude, their stand against the old traditions and customs, but all of this goes on creating an aura of being different, and this attracts those who also like to have something different. To Aquarius, being different, intellectualism is the smoke. So you see, every sign has a smoke. Without smoke, without some romance, without some spice, sex is boring. Union of two bodies is boring. One of the most oldest spice that brings life to your love story is the game of hide and seek. And it is played across the world. No matter what religion, what caste, what color you are, the game of hide and seek is played in every relationship, in every love story. How it happens? If you will observe closely, then it is woman who always hide and it is the man who always seek. Hide and seek. The more the woman hides, the more the man is excited to seek. And the more the woman says no, the more he is eager to hear yes. In fact, whenever a woman says no, it means a yes. Otherwise, she would not even bother to say no. She goes on saying no, and that no is her hiding, and the man becomes more excited. This excitement goes on shaping their relationship, adding spice to their relationship, and that is how the love story blossoms on the basis of this age old game, the game of hide and seek. Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. These signs understand very well the game of hide and seek. Their love life is generally filled up with a lot of smoke that goes on making their relationship a spicy relationship. And because there is a spice, they love it. You remove the spice and their relationship is over. To make the relationship hot, you have to bring the opposite in. Then fighting and quarreling and arguing gives a certain excitement to your energies. And when tired of fighting and arguing, you again move. The pendulum goes on moving between love and hate. When your pendulum moves towards love, you feel strong love because of the contrast. It depends on your likings. People like hot dogs. Dogs are enough, but they want hot dogs. In common relationships, the smoke is required. Without the smoke, without the spice, without the fights, without the arguments, you will feel lost. The relationship starts fading out. But that is not how it is when it comes to the love of the Buddha, the Master. Buddha's love is beyond the power of expression. Buddha's love has no spice to it. In his love, there is absolutely no shade of hate, and so you will find Buddha's love boring because there is no hate to it. It is pure love, unconditional, flowing like a river. If you come, you are welcome. If you leave, he will still bless you. There is no hate to his love, and so such a love is of the higher level. Buddha's love is the love of Ketu. There is absolutely no head, only the head needs the smoke. There is absolutely no mind, only the mind needs the smoke. And Buddha has gone beyond mind, beyond head. Now he is no more falling in love. He is love. Buddha is love. Jesus is love. Mahavira is love. The divine masters are love. When you are in love, you are falling for the other person in your life. When you are in meditation, you are falling in your own being. Understand that in both situations, you are getting out of your head. Trouble starts only when you again start moving back to your head. Then everything starts falling apart. As long as you remain out of your head, you remain engaged. The Master says, in love, you fall into somebody else's being. In meditation, you fall into your own being. They are very alike. The fall is the same, just the direction is different. Love is other directed. Meditation is self-directed. The process is the same, that you fall from the head. The message for Shatabhisha Nakshatra is not to remain too much into their head, their intellect, else they will go on missing love. They will simply miss. At one end in the sign of Aquarius is Shatabhisha Nakshatra of Rahu, and at the exact opposite end in the sign of Leo is Magha Nakshatra of Ketu. Shatabhisha is the peak of desires, Rahu. Magha is the peak of desirelessness, Ketu. At the Shatabhisha end is the material world, full of desires, full of intellectualism. And so, many scientists, doctors are born with this nakshatra, as well as many high-tech innovations and inventions and discoveries happen on Shatabhisha Nakshatra, because the desire to find something new, something better is very intense. That is the nature of Rahu. And so Rahu has in a way helped this world to progress technologically. But along with this progress, the same Rahu has also stolen, taken away the much peace, the much joy, the much happiness that one seeks. Magha, the nakshatra that stands exactly opposite to Shatabhisha, is the nakshatra of Ketu. Ketu is meditation. Meditation is a let go. Meditation is a surrender. It is not a demand. It is not forcing existence your way. It is relaxing into the way existence wants you to be. Meditation is a let go. Ketu is desirelessness. Rahu is overflowing with desires. Desires are ugly. Needs are beautiful. Once it happened. A young man went to a doctor. He knocked at the door. The doctor said, "You again? Now what has happened?" The young man came inside, sat on the chair and said, "Doctor, I am not able to sleep. For the last 2 weeks, I have been having a nightmare." The doctor observed closely. Yes, the young man indeed looked very tired. His eyes were red, sore eyes. He looked weak. The doctor became concerned. Looking at the young man, the doctor said, "What is the nightmare? Tell me about it." The young man said, "Every night I am having a horrible dream. I am alone in isolation, and there are 16 beautiful women all around me." The doctor laughed and said, "Then what is wrong with it? What is so horrible about it?" The young man looked into the eyes of the doctor and said, "Have you ever tried making love to 16 women who are standing in a queue?" And this is what happens with desires. Many desires are born, and then you get tired. Then you don't know what to do. Yes, you had desired for many beautiful women, and now there are over 16 beautiful women all over you. How are you going to manage them all? It is but obvious that it will become a nightmare. And that is what happens. Your desires become your nightmare, and then you are not able to sleep. Then you have to find ways to sleep, and this is how you yourself become the greatest obstacle to the peace that you seek. Rahu therefore becomes the greatest hurdle to your peace. This Rahu is your desire. It is born from you. And if you want to get rid of Rahu, then you have to kill your desires. You have to simply kill your desires. How to kill the desires? That must be your next question. Neem Karoli Baba, the divine master to whom Steve Jobs had come all the way from America to seek his blessings. This great enlightened master, Neem Karoli Baba, answers your question in the most beautiful way. Neem Karoli Baba says, if you want to see God, kill desires. Desires are in the mind. When you have a desire for something, don't act on it and it will go away. If you desire to drink this cup of tea, don't, and the desire for it will fall away. Needs come from the body, desires come from the mind. When you meditate, when you all meditate, you all have to move beyond the mind. Meditation happens only when there is no mind. Meditation is the state of no mind, no society within you, no conditioning within you, just you with pure consciousness. Yesterday Mohan said, birds, animals, they have no desires. That is true. That is indeed the greatest truth, that if one can realize, he can realize the many dimensions of this human life. Birds, animals hunt when they need. The need is met, then they will not keep running. But human beings keep running because they are not focused on the need. They are focused on fulfilling the desires. And desires never end. After one desire is fulfilled, the other is standing to be fulfilled. The queue of desires never end. Man is always found engaged in the unending queue of desires, and that is how he makes his life miserable by his own ignorance. Birds are happy. Animals are happy. The fishes in the water are happy. There is no tension because tension comes out of desires and not needs. Tension comes when the desire is to become and when you are not happy to be yourself. Tension begins with the desire for that which is not. It is a tension between the past and the future. You are like a bridge between two things, and whenever two things are connected, tension will be there. What I am and what I want to become, the more you try to connect the present with the future, the more tension will come. And the more you remain in the present, the more peace will come your way. Meditation is simply to help you all to be here now. Once it happened. The master was having a cup of tea, and it was a beautiful evening. Birds were singing their song, flowers were dancing in the breeze, and the whole world seemed to have come to a certain peak of joy. Amidst this came a stranger, and he bowed before the master, and the master asked, "Do I know you?" The stranger says, "No, master, I have come for the first time." The master smiled and said, have a cup of tea. After a while, a very close disciple comes, and the master is in his own bliss, engrossed within. Looking at the disciple, the master asks the same question, "Do I know you?" The disciple is confused. He says, "I have been with you for last 10 years, master." The master smiles and says, "Then have a cup of tea." Now the manager was standing nearby. Managers are very logical beings, too much into the head. So the manager steps ahead and asks, "Master, how come your response to the stranger and the disciple is same?" The master loudly calls out, "Manager, are you here?" The call out was so spontaneous that the manager's whole being is moved. Suddenly his awareness brings him to the present moment. Looking at the master, he says, "Yes, master, I am here." The master smiles and says, "Then have a cup of tea." The whole message is simply to be here now. No past, no future. Life is now. Just be here now. Intelligence is the capacity to be reborn again and again. To die to the past is intelligence, and to live in the present is intelligence. One who is able to be here now can meditate. And one who can meditate is becoming aware of his or her intelligence. Intelligence is not intellectuality. Ketu is not Rahu. Heart is not head. Heart is intelligence. That is why the sign of Leo is the most intelligent sign of all the 12 signs. And I have absolutely no doubt about it. It remains a truth, and I remain firm on this till the very last breath of my life. On one end is Leo, intelligence, Magha, Nakshatra, the Nakshatra of Ketu. And exactly opposite to Magha, that is the intelligence, is Shatabhisha Nakshatra, intellectuality. But one need to understand that it is not the moon sign, but it is the ascendant that has the final say in the affairs of human beings. Nature, Swabhav, is your ascendant. Mindset, Man, is your moon sign. Nature is spontaneous, you are born with it. Mind is not spontaneous. Remember this. Mind is shaped as you grow. It is given to you by the society. Your mind goes on shaping based in the society, in the locality you grow up. Moon is the mind. A Leo moon sign may think of himself as a compassionate man, but that is just thinking. It is not the reality. Reality is your nature, and that is your ascendant sign. In my life, I have met many Leo moon sign men and women, and they have been the most mean people I would have ever met, because moon, mind, is not a reality. Reality is your nature, your ascendant sign. Once it happened, a young man and his name was Arjun. And he was such a compassionate man, full of heart. He was like a fakir. Whatever he had, he would give away, and in that giving, he would find his bliss. One day, he asked me, "What is my ascendant sign?" Because with just a matter of minutes, my ascendant sign changes. I was born on the night of 16th January at 12:36 a.m. But if I move the time from 12:36 to 12:25, the ascendant changes from Leo to Cancer. So who am I? Cancer or Leo? The last part of Cancer sign is Ashlesha Nakshatra. The starting point of Leo is Magha Nakshatra. Arjun can either be on this side or that side, Ashlesha or Magha. I have been knowing Arjun for a long time. His nature was of giving. His nature was of letting go. And if Arjun would have been born anytime between 12:25 a.m. to 12:34 a.m., then Ashlesha Nakshatra would have been rising, and Ashlesha was exact opposite to his nature. Ashlesha is the nature that loves to cling. Attachment is what Ashlesha's nature is, and detachment is what Magha's nature is. And so I said to him, "Let there be no doubt about your ascendant. There is absolutely no need of any birth rectification. You are a Leo ascendant, born while Magha was rising on the eastern horizon. Magha, the nakshatra of detachment, the nakshatra of Ketu." I love Magha Nakshatra. Magha, it is the seat of the royal, the king. A nakshatra ruled by Ketu is being addressed by the ancient seers and sages as kingly, royal. Because one who has conquered himself is the real king. One who cannot be disturbed by the outside noise is the real king. One who is deeply engrossed within is the real king. One who cannot be moved no matter how many buttons you press is the real king. Ketu is that king. The king who has conquered himself. The king who has defeated the Maya, the illusion, the lust, the greed, the desires, and emerged as the greatest conqueror. Conquering others requires force. Conquering oneself requires strength. Buddha is Ketu. Ketu is meditation. The greatest yogi exists because of Ketu. Ketu is the bridge between you and the beyond. This month, on 21st September, my new book, Why Ketu Can Heal, is coming, and you all can avail a copy of it. I am certain those who have loved my Rahu book will definitely love my Ketu book. The qualities of Shatabhisha Nakshatra is primarily seen through the ascendant and not the moon sign. Nature, in Indian context, we call it Swabhav. Nature or Swabhav is important and not the mind. The mind is a monkey. Mind keeps changing, but the nature remains. And so Nakshatra at the ascendant level is extremely important and significant in many ways. Let us have a quick walk through all ascendant signs. In just one line, I would like to share with you all the nature of each ascendant. Let us start with Capricorn. Capricorn ascendant, a pragmatic person. Cancer ascendant, an emotional person. Aquarius ascendant, intellectual person. Leo ascendant, intelligent person. Pisces ascendant, faithful person. Virgo ascendant, logical person. Aries ascendant, straightforward person. Libra ascendant, diplomatic person. Taurus ascendant, pleasure seeking, liberal person. Scorpion ascendant, secretive, conservative person. Gemini ascendant, talkative, intellectual person. Sagittarius ascendant, religious person. So you see, the ascendant is the very nature of your whole being. When you call someone a miser, it is his nature. He is conjuice by nature. He may want to give, his mind may want to give, but still his nature won't let him. And let me tell you all, the nature remains. Swabhav cannot be changed. Even if you become a yogi, even if you become one of the greatest saint, still the nature remains. Because it is nature and you cannot change the nature. Changing the nature means interfering with the existence, the source, and that never happens. It never can. You can change the mind, you can overcome the mind, but the nature remains. You all must have known the great Rishi, Atri Rishi. He was one of the greatest Rishi, and yet it was his nature to get angry at even a small instance. It is nature, you can't help. And this nature is seen through the ascendant sign and ascendant nakshatra. Paramhansa Yogananda was born on Leo ascendant with Magha rising, Ketu. He became one of the finest yogi that the world had ever known. Ketu, Magha rising, brings a nature that is willing to let go. That is a perfect nature of a yogi, to let go. Ketu, the divine energy, brings along the realization that the difficulties in your life are to awaken you, to awake you and not to hurt you. Your trials did not come to punish you, but to awaken you. Ketu's Magha is placed exact opposite to Rahu's Shatabhisha, and so is how life unfolds. On one end is intellectualism, Shatabhisha, Aquarius, and on the other end is intelligence, Magha, Leo sign. Shatabhisha is the head, Magha is the heart. It is not a question of who is good and who is bad in astrology. In this universe, there is absolutely nothing that can be labeled as good or bad. Intellectualism is a poor substitute for intelligence. It is not bad, but it is a poor substitute for intelligence. A meditative man is an intelligent man. He is a man of awareness. He may not be literate like the intellectuals. He may not be a pandit like the intellectuals, but he has that which the intellectuals doesn't have. And that is love, faith, and the readiness to live life in total surrender. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells to Arjuna to surrender. Krishna says, abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear. The intellectual keeps searching for the master, but the master comes only when you are ready, only when there is readiness to surrender to love. The ultimate act of power is surrender. God is love and love is real. So the whole story of 27 nakshatras is either on the side of intelligence or on the side of intellectualism. An intellectual cannot understand the language of Buddha. Buddha's language is the language of the heart. And the intellectual's language is the language of the head, of logic. Love and logic are two ends that can never meet. You either love or you either are caught up in your logic, in your head. Love and logic never meet, cannot meet. Logic means the outward journey. Love means the inward journey. Shatabhisha is logic, Aquarius. Magha is love, Leo. The message to Shatabhisha Nakshatra natives is to get out of the head and get into your heart. Thinking will not help, feeling will help. And so come you all and meditate with focus on your heart. It doesn't matter whether you are Rahuish at some point of time, in some life, in some births. Those who today are Ketuish were also Rahuish. But they changed, and they changed because they allowed change to happen. You also can change. You also can transform. You also can experience the taste of real freedom. All you need is to start meditating. All you need is to start giving. If you knew what I know about the power of giving, you would not let a single meal pass without sharing it in some way, says the Buddha. The power of giving and sharing is beyond the expression of words. You have been focusing a lot on the outward journey. Now the time has come to start focusing on the inward journey. Transformation happens when you start turning inwards. When you start turning inwards, you realize that what an idiot you have been. You realize the many mistakes you have been committing out of ignorance. You realize how much you have been accumulating your whole life when you would have had shared so much with others. And God has been giving you many opportunities to share, to help, but you missed. You simply missed. There is a famous saying of Jesus. Jesus says, "One who is willing to lose gains, and one who goes on saving and accumulating loses." Quite a strange mathematics, but also so true and so real. It is time to give away. It is time to share. Sharing is caring. Rahu's nakshatras may give you a lot of money and fame. Still, in the end, if you cannot have a good night's sleep, if you cannot enjoy life, then what is the use of that money and fame? Being rich and famous is not the answer, but turning inwards and realizing yourself can lead you all to the many answers that you seek. Your self-realization is one of the greatest miracles, and only you can make it happen by turning inwards and meditating. Your own self-realization is the greatest service you can render the world, says the Bhagavan Raman Maharshi. It happens. It always happens that one who is moving towards the beyond, the unseen, the godly, is labeled as insane. And yet, it is the insane whom God loves the most. The Master says, परमात्मा पागलों को चाहता है, समझदार अक्सर चूक जाता है. God loves the insane, the sane often miss. God loves only those who are insane. Those who are followers of the heart, those who can relate to His holy name, those who are willing to jump without having any doubts or questions. Only such men and women are the blessed ones. The world may call them insane, but what they could relate to, what they could listen to, cannot be listened by those who call themselves sane. And those who were seen dancing were thought insane by those who could not hear the music. You will hear the music, you will also start dancing, and then you will be so much engrossed in the dancing that you will forget the dancer. And that is the peak of your arrival, when the dancer, the ego, exists no more and you become the dance. Then God comes in search of you. Then you have to go nowhere else. The Master will come in search of you. And so first become the dance. Get out of your head, Shatabhisha, and get into your heart. Let the journey of many wonderful experiences begin. You don't have to go anywhere. You just have to close your eyes. Focus on your breathing. Focus on the Lord's name and meditate. Through meditations, you can work out on all your relationships and your miseries. The real workout is meditation. And so the larger question that you all should ask yourself is, are you ready to meditate? Your answer matters. Turn inward and find your answer. Turn the mind inward and cease thinking of yourself as the body. Thereby you will come to know that the self is ever happy. Neither grief nor misery is experienced in this state, says the Bhagwan Raman Maharshi. Meditate every day and always remember you are not alone.